Hello everyone, I'm Ellen McCloskey and this is my Module 1 Various Communication Forms and Personal Video. Just some demographics. My husband Andrew and I are small crop and cattle farmers here in South Central Kansas, where we have a menagerie of animals. We have goats and chickens and cattle and horses and dogs and cats, and two of our dogs are Clive the Golden Retriever in the bottom left and Ace the Red Heeler in the bottom right. This is my 6th year in education. I have a bachelor's in secondary English education from KU, and then I have a master's in high incidence special education from Fort Hays State University. During my 6 years, I've been a high school English education teacher. I've been a 4th through 8th grade special education teacher, a 9th through 12th grade special education teacher, and then most recently I've become an IEP specialist, and this is the position that really has brought all of my previous jobs and positions in education. It's really come full circle in this position because I'm very passionate about helping people and helping people improve, and I'm also very passionate about special education, so this IEP specialist position really ties those two pieces in together, where I'm able to review and train on IEP compliance, but I'm also able to advocate on the special education side. Communication strategies. So the most often for communication, I use email. That's a way that I communicate back and forth with all of the providers that are out in the field. That's a quick and easy way for me to communicate, and something that doesn't demand the provider's time right away while they're serving students. I also frequently use Google Docs and Google Sheets, and this is for IEP reviews for compliance and also for data collection, and it's just a form of communication that we can use back and forth. So I can put something down on the Google Doc, and I give the providers commenting abilities, so then they're able to go in. If they don't understand something, they can comment on it, and then I'm alerted to it right away through my email. And then I also use phone calls and texting, kind of depending on what teachers or what providers I have out in the field. Some of them are more comfortable just giving me a call to walk through IEP compliance and communicating back and forth on that piece. I use face-to-face communication and training when it's allowed. And then I use video training. So I use YouTube, Zoom, Screencast-O-Matic. I record a lot of trainings and send them out to people who aren't able to make it into in-person trainings. I don't pay for any of these communication tools currently, and I do not intend to use any sort of communication tools that cost myself money or cost any of the providers money. I do wish I was able to use some other forms of communication just to kind of move past only email, because I know sometimes with providers people get busy and their emails get really bogged down, and it's not quite as easy to frequently check in with your emails, so that may not be the best form of communication for everybody. And so I've talked about, potentially looking at Remind, or looking at more communication between Google Invites, and using some of those strategies. I just haven't had the time to implement those pieces, and also anytime that something new is implemented, that then requires training for all of the providers that we have out in the field. And I work for a special education cooperative that serves 15 districts, and so we have a ton of providers spread across a wide range of miles, and so rolling out some of those things are just kind of difficult from time to time. For introductions, Gross 2018 states introductions matter. They set a tone, they establish trust, they signal power or its absence. They signal approachability. They reveal respect, and the origin of that word is telling. To look at, to regard, to consider. We need to see the person with whom we are newly engaging. So these articles really change my perspective just on making sure that introductions are solid and making sure they're personal and making sure that they show vulnerability. So that's often not something that we go to when we think of that, but it's very important from a leadership standpoint that people see you as approachable and they see you as someone that they can trust, and making sure that there's not any sort of power dynamic between the two, and making sure that respect is built just from that introduction from the very beginning. Introductions as a new building leader. Some of the strategies that I intend to use in the future when I'm introducing myself as a building leader or in my current role as an IEP specialist comes from two of the articles. So according to Cartrizella, 2018, there are a few different steps to effective introductions. Go beyond your title. Think about the problems that only you can solve. Ask your friends and colleagues for input. Flash back to your childhood. Show a little vulnerability. Gather some feedback on your introduction. Blame it on someone else. And resist going back to the same old intro. And just to kind of tie that in, Mercurio, 2019, states that introductions should be aligned with a story and should follow the pattern of don't list what and describe why. Tell people what you believe in and the problem you exist to solve, and do the reflective work. So ensuring that, so as a new building leader, I'll work to ensure that my introductions really do put a story behind my job title and put a story behind my role and my purpose as a building leader. So our current district policies on communication, aside from ensuring that the chain of command is followed, there really are no other district policies on communication, at least that I'm aware of. I just ensure personally that I'm available to all of our providers during working hours, and I make sure that they know that they're able to email me or call me at any point in time in order to use that communication piece. Standard correlation. This assignment demonstrates correlation to PLO 5, CLO 5.3 by requiring me to review articles pertaining to the power of storytelling introductions. Then I had to determine how these articles play into effective communication within districts. By doing so, I was able to address communication through oral, written, and digital means within the larger organizational, community, and political context when advocating for the needs of schools and community. Relevancy. This assignment was relevant to my learning because communication and introductions are a part of my everyday job as an IEP specialist. I'm always reviewing and providing feedback to providers, and if I have poor communication, then my teaching is not as effective. This assignment improved my understanding of promoting community engagement because it allowed me to see the importance of providing introductions that are beyond my job title and create vulnerability. Additionally, it forced me to reflect on my own communication practices in my current role and ensure I'm introducing myself properly to promote community engagement. Reflection. This assignment has made me a better educator and future leader because it has made me think critically about the importance of providing an introduction that moves beyond the typical job title and description. By providing stakeholders with an honest introduction that covers items such as how I solve problems and why my job addresses these problems, then I'm creating trust and setting a tone of respect. As a future leader, I need to make sure that I introduce myself with purpose, and I'm an intentional communicator. If my communication is poor, then my district and my staff will suffer. And then these are the references that were used throughout. Thank you.